Hi guys, thank you for joining. Today I'm going to use my favorite deck to progress in the trophy road. I'm currently sitting at 7000 trophies and I will not be using maxed out or evolution cards. Let's get into our first match. Our match started friendly as we exchanged wishes on emotes with one another, but it was going to be a long one, where the tiebreaker will decide our fate. I have no problem placing the first card, but I started with no card to rush them with, so I decided to hold on to my cards for a bit longer, especially Tombstone in case they had a Battle Ramp or a Hog Rider. I gave in finally, as both of us were not placing cards and I got bored of waiting for them to play, so I made the first move. Now remember, we don't have any card to rush in this deck, that is why waiting is a good idea, but because placing the Tombstone will help me cycle to the Ice Wizard, thus I chose to do it. I also tried using an emote to get them to react at least, but when after placing the Barbarian Barrel and the card, they did not react, I thought that they were offering me a free win, but at last my graveyard pushed them to place a dead troop of their own. And look how much damage my cannon did when the dragon was tanking for it. I immediately placed poison on top of the executioner as I really did not have anything else in my cycle to defend against a healthy executioner. And I used my Barbarian to distract the executioner, otherwise Mini P.E.K.K.A would have connected to my tower. But all of this left me with a very little elixir to defend against their push. I thought that the Ice Wizard will get rid of the skeletons and my tower along with the cannon would deal with the rest of the witch. But as soon as I realized that my wizard is taking 2 hits to finish those tiny skeletons, I knew that the tower was gone. I knew that they had a strong army, so I needed to be the first one to start damaging their other tower in order to win. Just look at that archer, this is exactly I warned you against, that they can deal such damage from a safe distance without taking any. Now I thought they would place a mini P.E.K.K.A above the executioner, so I placed the tower, but I think they were waiting for me to target the left flank. But really I was not worried about it, as I knew I had a zap to finish it off. Little did I know that the zap will not be enough, so I had to use my poison too. I think this was the point from which they started placing their card aggressively on my side, but really with 2 towers hitting you directly in the face and not to forget the spawn time, in my opinion you should avoid doing this. After finishing the witch, my cannon just stayed there to guard the tower a bit more. As it was sudden death, I needed to defend my tower, so when I saw no troop in my cycle to help me stop Skeleton King, I pulled Tombstone as a desperate move and luckily it paid off. I thought I should push them with my Wizard Dragon Graveyard combo. I planned to use Dragon as tank, but their Tesla logged my push. Clearly, there was no strategy on their part, they were simply spamming cards on my side. Again, my reliable Tombstone to stop the king on his path, with Baby Dragon and Cannon to break hopes of the rest of the army. I placed the cannon right next to the archer because I wanted to avoid any damage to my tower. Again, I pushed with my graveyard. Once more, using the same graveyard poison combo as Tesla was right next to the tower, it proved to be an even better combo. At this point, I knew I could easily counter their man push of Skeleton King and Witch, so I was just letting them do it while countering with my Wizard Cannon combo, then using Graveyard to do chip damage, ending it with my poison targeting everything in the proximity of the tower. Let's begin our second match. So they started by placing a Goblin barrel and I had a Barbarian barrel in my cycle to counter them, but they had a trick up their sleeve. They mirrored the barrel. Fortunately though, I had Zap too. Placing a skeleton giant on the bridge was an aggressive play because generally you are supposed to place them at the back of your tower and form your push behind them. Notice that I placed my cannon to distract the skeleton away from the tower while placing the dragon in the opposite lane to save them from the bomb that would be dropped as soon as the skeleton perished. They tried to stop my dragon from connecting unsuccessfully and now they decided to push the left lane with Valkyrie and E-Dragon. Seeing a push forming on the lane, I placed my main defensive troop, Ice Wizard. Here I could have used the Barbarian but I wanted to save it for their Goblin barrel. Remember, the key is to use Ice Wizard to slow down the opponent, push while using Dragon or Cannon to destroy them. Simply use them in a combo more than as a standalone troop. And now I use my Barbarian barrel and my Zap. I forgot that they would have a skeleton again because placing the graveyard here was a wrong move. Another wrong placement with a dragon. I really had no reason to push there aggressively, yet I did. I think it was because the E-Dragon did a lot of damage to my tower and somehow I felt that I was playing a little too defensive. I don't know whether they were low on elixir or simply decided not to carry on with the skeleton, but if they had gotten rid of my tower using their goblin barrel or used both the barrel along with the mirror on my tower directly, I think I would have lost my tower. It was really unfortunate that I had both my cannon to distract and E-Wizard to freeze their Mega Knight. I have successfully defended the push. Now it's my time to push with my Wizard Dragon Graveyard combo. Although they defended it pretty good, mostly with the help of their skeleton army, my poison yielded me so much value there. Here I was planting seeds for another push, but I had to withdraw it to defend my tower against their goblin barrel. Until this point in the match, you must have noticed that both of us were using the same cycle to defend and attack against each other. They were using Barrel Mirror combo to attack and Valkyrie E-Dragon combo to defend, while I was using my ever-reliable Wizard Cannon to defend and Graveyard Dragon to attack, each time with a slight variation. I was ready with my Graveyard Poison combo to defend against their army, and for some reason they used their mirror on top of my poison. In my opinion, it was a complete waste of elixir. My Ice Wizard was doing so well that I was able to cycle to another one. I should have placed my tower here and I don't know why I didn't. Reason could be because I knew that I had this game in my grip. I was the one controlling it. Again, placing their skeleton giant on the bridge without any supporting troop was helping me more than them. At this point I knew that my graveyard poison combo was enough and I did not need a dragon to tank for them. All there was left to do now was to defend against their main push. I used my skeleton tower as I had to stop the Mega Knight from jumping on top of my wizard, as without it, my cannon and dragon would have suffered to stop the incoming traffic. There were two choices I could think of at this moment, either to defend against their skeleton giant with my barrel, but then they could always place goblin barrel mirror combo on top of my tower using the giant as tank, or I could risk it with my graveyard poison combo. I won't lie, but for a moment I thought that the perfectly winnable match just slipped through my fingers. It was so close, but technically it's paid off. This is our third and the last battle. They started with an evolved wizard. Remember, we don't have any evolved card, but in case you have it, don't be shy to use them. I wanted to cover the general audience, thus I will assume you don't have any. A Sparky in front of the wizard is deadly, but a skeleton army with support from the tower can handle it. As I was missing the army, I decided to improvise with my graveyard and cannon, as cannon can take 2 hits from the Sparky. They place another evolved card, this time being a pancake loving mini Pekka, but it won't pass through my wizard and skinny skeletons. I was forced to place poison to finish the princess because firstly, I didn't have barbarian variant, and secondly, even if I had one, the princess being level 13 would need one extra hit from my barbarian. Poison seemed to be the only choice. I placed the cannon in the left lane because I wanted to dissipate any supporting troop behind the Mega Knight and to lock both of my princess tower on the knight. This way, they are forced to engage the right lane now. I just wanted to get rid of that witch because she was spawning skeletons. Thus I used Barbarian Barrel because I don't need to save it for Goblin Barrel like in the previous battle. They were forming a formidable push with a Sparky Wizard combo, and I knew that they would have a Mega Knight in the cycle by now, but they choose Princess over him, which lead to poison. I misplaced the spell though, as I completely missed to target the tower. One shot by the Sparky and my wizard was no more. I zelled the remaining of the wizard Sparky combo off the map and pulled the knight again with the skeleton tower. I was expecting the cannon to cross the bridge and the cycle as a tank for my graveyard, but they stopped me with a mini pickup baking pancakes on the bridge. I would have used poison to finish the princess, but the skeletons took her to the graveyard with that. Note that Mega Knight was not my concern here, it was the lady behind him. I placed the graveyard early so my ice wizard can survive and support the skeletons to demolish the tower, but I guess he was a little too weak to support even himself. Second time in a row, I misplaced my poison. You need to know that if the king tower gets activated, then the graveyard becomes useless. You need to heavily guard it now, which takes away its purpose. Again, using towers to spawn skeletons my baby dragon for splash damage. But with that knight in front, I needed to do more to take the Sparky off its wheels. Thus I timed this up perfectly to reset the Sparky. In the same strategy, I was splitting my troops in both lanes to stop them from forming any kind of push on the weak tower. We were both working on attacks in different lanes, but I needed to attend to their knight. Barrel to get rid of the Nautilus Princess, and the Skeleton Tower to stop Mini Pekka from connecting. Finally, the tiebreaker helped me to secure the win. You must have noticed that I didn't use the graveyard after I activated the king tower by mistake. I was only defending the tower until the tiebreaker because I knew the game is on my back. Alright, so this is all for today. Thank you for staying by. Subscribe and please tune in for more gameplay videos, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.